Alright, what factors lead to homeless people pooping on the sidewalks? Recently I read a news article that there's an increasing number of homeless people pooping on the sidewalks in Los Angeles, and this is causing a scare of potential diseases to be spread and stuff. But you know what has led to that? Okay, what's the history behind it? If you read Half Broke Horses, this lady, when she was a kid, she thought nothing of popping down and on the ground and going right to the bathroom, right on the ground, wherever she stood, wherever she felt like. All right. If you read Alaska by James Michener, there was a gold rush to Alaska, and the population boomed so fast they couldn't provide enough toilets for everybody, so they started piling poop on the streets. And since it froze in Alaska, they'd have frozen piles of poop that would just sit on the streets, and it was a real risk. And I think it did spread some disease. And then just imagine that, just right there. And it was the mining, for mining, so it was a boom town and then a bust town, you know. But what else is there to factor in? Okay, we have you look at the journals of Lewis and Clark, and they talk about how they're killing deer every day, pretty much, just shooting deer every day. They had a party of 30 or 40, so they needed to constantly get food, and they were getting it off the lands in their travels. They never talked about where they were pooping, because that was never a concern. They didn't have to document where they're pooping. Like today, in modern day, we have to document where we're pooping, because it is more of a concern when there's all these sidewalks, all this concrete all over the place. You know, people are concerned if you're doing it in some place that's got a high traffic area that's just not going to decompose. And there are some pretty bad areas that should not be pooped in, but are, by a lot of homeless people. You know, Los Angeles, I've seen it in Victorville, California, just east of Los Angeles. There's parts there that the homeless took over that are pretty bad. Well, what's led to that? Okay, we have structures, we have fences, we have all these constrictions that were built up. Okay, they're not natural. They weren't always there. We have boxes, receptacles that we have to throw our trash in. We have bowls that we have to pee and poop in. And these bowls aren't just out in the open, you know. They're not out just for anybody to walk over to. They're inside boxed, walled buildings that are frequently getting locked at night. Okay, you know, it'd be nice if they left bathrooms unlocked all the time, but why? Okay, so we got to the point where we have these bathrooms as a way to dispose of all this refuse that's coming out of our bodies. And for some reason these buildings are being locked up. And why is that? Okay, crime. Okay, so crime is causing a lot of these buildings to be locked up. All right, and who tends to perpetuate these criminal acts? Okay, willful destruction of bathrooms by graffiti, by putting poop in the sinks. I mean, just anything you can imagine, which, you know, it depends on who you are or what you can imagine. I find the young white males to be the most imaginative, okay, and are the most destructive to bathrooms. I mean, I don't think it's any other race. Asians seem to be really responsible. Any other race, blacks, maybe Mexicans might be bad. I don't think blacks are bad. Okay, I think it's really young white males. And what's inspiring them to create these terrible acts? I've seen some. Okay, I've really have suspected some people I've seen, and so it's created a picture of a profile of these type of people to me. What they are. I've seen a graffito taggers who's admitted to graffito tagging. He's just graffito tagged his own name all over the place in a city in Oregon. I can't think of the name, but there's another two other guys. They're not exactly loners. They may not tend to be loners either, because there were these two guys in Langley, Washington, on the Whidbey Island, who were trashing this public bathroom that was actually being left unlocked at night, and they were like throwing carrots in the toilet and just wiping poop on the walls and stuff. All right, looking at these young males, they're not refined. They don't have any class to themselves. They don't really seem to have any sense of health, any healthy habits in general anyway. Okay, they don't look like they've gone to the gym and like tried to work their bodies up or striven to eating healthy. They have a sickly look to them. So I would find people who look sickly to be suspicious, and more than that, what's leading to the sickliness? Okay, but addiction. All right, drug addiction. Okay, so a lot of this is going to fall back on drug addiction for people, but everybody responds to different. Everybody has different addictions, different cravings for addictions. Okay, if it's the young white males, all right, is there a particular drug that they prefer over other races, over other people? All right, that's something to question. Heroin apparently is getting cheaper, and marijuana is more prevalent and stuff. I'm thinking that it's a lot of these graffito taggers and people who destroy bathrooms. Just they throw the whole roll of toilet paper in the toilet. They'll pee on the toilet paper. Okay, they're going to be young white males, most likely under the influence of drugs, not healthy looking. All right, so you got that profile of these people just destroying bathrooms. The city responds the same way every time. We're going to have to lock the bathrooms due to this. And we're talking about young white males. Like, it could be even like preteens, early teens, into the teens, even into the mid-20s. By the time they hit their 30s, it's much less likely that they'll willfully destroy the bathroom. But, I mean, that's focusing on young white males who are under the influence of drugs, wiping poop all over the walls and throwing the toilet paper in the toilets. That's that one class. That's leading to the bathrooms getting locked up, and then homeless people who are poor, kind of forced to poop elsewhere. All right, businesses are not gonna like homeless people walking into their business because it looks bad to their business, so they can't do that. More than that too, it's not just this willful destruction by drug crazed young white people. There's also people who just regular older people and middle age even, who are just they're getting sick and they can't hold it in, and they'll poop all over the place too. Okay, I've had my moments. Okay, I'm sure plenty of other people have too, and then they destroy the bathrooms stink up the bathrooms with poop all over the place and spreading that disease. And a lot of times the people who have to clean that get tired of that. All right, maybe somebody just didn't know that the toilet is like too constricted, and they put too much toilet paper in the bowl and then overflow it that way or something. Bathroom gets shut down. There becomes a line. But I mean, who's going to want to wait in a line for very long? They're going to have to find somewhere else to go. And so we see these videos on LiveLeak. Sometimes probably YouTube. It has to be safe for the general audience, where people will just poop on the sidewalk as they're walking by and then continue on. It's like watching dogs poop on the sidewalks and just carrying on. It's gone down to that, but it's perfectly natural to do that, because I mean, back in pioneer days we could get away with that, no problem. In fact, it's encouraged because it feeds the plants. But with all this concrete and lack of vegetation in certain areas, it's just it's come to this where it's considered a problem, whereas once it was never a problem.